Facebook under fire again. A Senate Intelligence Committee report claiming Russian agents used social media sites like Facebook to target African Americans in an effort to suppress voter turnout. Christina Partsenevelos is in the newsroom with the latest. Christina.
There's always the latest with Facebook, but you have Facebook CEO Sheryl Sandberg taking to Facebook today to employees stating that, yes, voter suppression is a civil rights challenge, and she promised that for future elections, Facebook is going to do a better job when it comes to meddling. Facebook, in their post, and I quote, said that we know that we need to do more, like they've said before, to listen, look deeper, and take action to respect fundamental rights. And this comes, like you said, you had reports coming out from the Senate Intelligence Committee on Monday stating that Russia did meddle within social media and meddled in the election. But more specifically, they targeted African Americans. And what do I mean by they targeted? According to the report, there was about 80 Facebook pages that they looked at. And out of those 80 Facebook pages, 30 of them were directed towards African Americans. Other things that they did, they created Gmail accounts with American-sounding names to get activists to go out and rally and protest their propaganda, essentially. And so you had the Senate report stating that other distinct ethnic and religious groups were the focus of one or two Facebook pages or Instagram accounts, but the black community was targeted extensively with dozens. So they don't say why they targeted the black community, but of course you can assume that it has to do with creating more racial divide in America and to suppress the Democratic vote. We don't know specifically why, but we do have several civil advocacy groups saying, hey, don't go on Facebook today. And some of them are even saying Mark Zuckerberg should step down. He's the founder of Facebook. And last but not least, just the effect on the elections thus far. We don't know what the effect has been. But according to Pew Research, the Pew Research Center, they concluded that in 2016, although it was a wonderful record year for American voters, the black voter turnout was the lowest in 20 years. Back to you, Melissa.
Interesting stuff. Christina, thank you.
Thanks.
There is a lot of interesting components here to talk about. Gary Kaltbaum is still with us. And we also want to bring in the nationally syndicated radio talk show host Richard Fowler. Both Gary and Richard are Fox News contributors. Richard, I'll begin with you first. I mean, to Christina's point, you can talk about motivations here, but I think the one that a lot of people are focusing on now that we have this Senate report is the idea of voter suppression, whether the companies, Facebook in particular, knew that's what the Russians were trying to do and whether they acted upon it. What's your view on that in terms of what the companies should have done and what they actually did do?
Well, I think we should demand transparency and accountability from all of our tech companies to make sure this doesn't happen again. But it's very interesting of which group they chose to target. They chose to target a group of voters that they knew would be voters that would, and more likely than not, vote for the Democratic ticket or vote for Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. And in doing so, and by suppressing those votes, these Russian troll farms and whatever, they knew that they could have a hand on the election. Because what happens if you could suppress 10,000 African American votes in Pennsylvania, or 10,000 African American votes in Detroit, Michigan, right, or 10,000 votes in Miami, Florida? That's the difference between winning and losing the election. So this, for all Americans, whether you are Democrat, Republican, or Independent, we should be ensuring that we not only protect our democracy from any type of voter suppression, but we need to ensure that we don't have any foreign interference in it moving forward.
And what do you think, Gary, is the responsibility of the company here? Because from what I've read, it was fairly obvious of what these Russian accounts were up to or what their goal was. Sometimes it's tough to tell, but they say in these cases it was fairly obvious what they were trying to do. And when Facebook and other companies were asked about it, they didn't come forward and say, yeah, they're trying to suppress the vote. They basically said, well, we're not sure. What's the responsibility?
Well, first off, Richard's 1,000% right on everything he said. Look, the problem with Facebook, as I see it, while on their way to becoming this data collecting blob throughout the years to make zillions of dollars off their community, they forgot something, and that is the controls of having billions of people on their platform and right, doing nothing about it. Well, guess what? Wake up call city in the last couple of years, and
that's
for
all
me,
changing
my
now,
eyes,
Gary, right?
Yeah, but they've been slow in doing it. Not till something bubbles up to the top or some investigation comes up do they start reacting. They need to get their act together and be more proactive about this stuff, because I got news for them. A ton of millennials are leaving them. Their brand name has been heading south for about a year now. Their stock price has been crushed. Nothing good's going to come of it until they really open their eyes to what's going on.
It's interesting. You want to make it's got to be a quick point, Richard. I'm sorry.
I will make one point. I think it's very important to know, as Congress thinks about regulating Facebook, remember how large of a company Facebook is. It owns WhatsApp. It also owns Instagram, all products that millennials and African Americans and all Americans use. So when we think about regulating Facebook, let's remember they are a large entity that has various properties that users use every single day.
Our old buddy Walt Mossberg, the well-known tech journalist, said yesterday, by the way, not a millennial, no offense to Walt, but he's leaving Facebook. So it was interesting to see that. All right, guys, thanks. Gary, Richard, good to see you both.
Thank you.